ET The Extra-terrestrial.
ET The Extra-terrestrial.
This is for our first 80s movie Monday.
Amen.
So I'll be honest, I've never seen it.
This is actually my first time seeing it too, to be honest. I've never seen this movie before.
Alright, so let's start out with what you liked.
Well, just a little bit about the movies. It's actually directed by one of the best director ever, is Steven Spielberg. This was made in 1982?
Somewhere around there.
Something, in the 80s. In the 80s. And it stars, I have no idea who, I don't think he's working anymore. Has Drew Barrymore in it. She's a child. This movie was very interesting. I've never seen it before, just like Paul, like he said. I do like the fact that it's practical effects. Most of the stuff in the movie were all built. There was not a lot of CGI. If I'm correct, I don't think there's none, but
I don't feel like there was either. Other than the bicycle scene, which is like famous. But yeah.
The bicycle scene, there you go.
Bicycle scene. But yeah, and the fact that like ET was a real prop that moved around, I really like that. Or a person in a suit. But you believed it. You don't believe a lot of the CGI that happens nowadays.
E.T. is pretty original, if I'm correct. I don't know if there's been I don't think it's a remake. The other thing I like about this is I like the fact that it was actually really not a kids-friendly movie. If you really watch the beginning, it was actually kind of scary. I can see why kids growing up now that they're adults, they said that when they were kids they saw this movie, they said they were scared of it, that they were creeped out by it. And I can see why. At the beginning of it, it actually has the movie sign, that feel that like the uncertain of what's out there, and you know the hand is creepy. I don't know about it's just really creepy.
That's one thing about this movie that I really enjoyed, that it built it up. It wasn't all of a sudden, here's E.T. You didn't really know what he looked like until about halfway through. And a lot of the movie is setting up for the climax. It doesn't go off on weird tangents like movies do nowadays. It kept to the point. It kept to Elliot's and E.T.'s relationship. Yeah. Now, the one thing I do have a problem is that Elliot heard one of his brother's friends say, was it an extraterrestrial? And that was the only mentioning of the acronym E.T. And then all of a sudden he's like, hey, can you say E.T.? That's your name now. That's your name. That's one of the only problems I had with this movie.
I have a couple.
Okay.
This movie is slow. It's a slow-paced movie, at least for myself. It's really slow. Like Paul was saying, it was setting up for the climax of the bicycle scene, the famous one. But for me, I was sitting there. I have to admit, I actually fell asleep watching it, and my wife had to wake me up. But the pace was just so slow. I thought it just didn't pick up for me. Now the climax was worth it. It was to the part where the government's coming to get you. I thought the clever, or this is not that I don't like, but the clever part is the villain, or the so-called the bad guy. The beginning of the movie, they don't show who he is. They just show you the key, that key change that he has. I thought that was brilliant by what Steven Spielberg did. Of course, he's a brilliant director. So the other thing I didn't like the acting. I think Elliot is really annoying.
I mean, he was a child actor. He is young, but saying that, I thought he did pretty well. He cried on cue. He knew his lines. He sold it as a whiny little kid. That's who he is. Drew Barrymore, very impressive. Very impressive.
I just think that the acting was really overdone. I don't know. Maybe it was just me. Maybe it's just that
it's the era.
It's the era. It's the 80s, and I'm so used to I'm the 90s guy. I'm always about Die Hard and all that kind of. But for me, it was just over the top, the acting. And other than that, besides those two, this movie was pretty entertaining. I can see why people like this movie. I can also see why kids back in those days got scared by it, because it was actually a really creepy, kind of scary movie from the beginning. And so I can see why people feel that way. What's the score? What do you give this movie?
I give this movie a 9.5.
A 9.5, wow. That's a pretty high score. I will have to go about 7.5.
7.5?
Yeah,
alright. So let us know what you thought. Comment below. Like this video, share it.
Follow
80s
us.
Movie Mondays. Subscribe to Movie Nerds Alert.
There you go.
And that's it. We'll see you next time.